Hello everybody, Mannix here. Got another tabletop knife review for you right here, right now. Feel free to subscribe, hit that little bell notification if you do not want to miss weekly knife, gear, flashlight, lighter, gun videos. Support me on Patreon, link in the description. Let's get right into this. This is going to be on a very rare, very unique, not only Benchmade knife, but knife in general. It's very rare you'll come across anything quite like this guy right here. The Benchmade 10100 LFK. 10100 just being the model number, but the model name is the LFK. So it happens to be a first production run, 324 of 500 as labeled right there. Boy howdy, these things are cool. These Benchmade LFKs, they have stopped making them a long time ago, about a decade ago, I want to say. I don't know the year offhand. But if you're not familiar with this knife, it might look very bizarre to you. How does that blade fit in the handle? It looks like it could be a fixed blade, but obviously you just saw me open it up, and you see a liner right there, meaning it's probably a folding knife. Well, there's your answer right there. There's a separate mechanism right here that pivots in unison with the pivot the blade is on. So as you pivot the blade, so does that mechanism, and it goes flush completely underneath the handle right there, out of the way of your grip, thus shortening the handle length when in the open position. But it accommodates the oversized blade in comparison to the handle to close it. Very, very interesting mechanism. Never seen anything like this on any other folder. Maybe someone might know of one somewhere out there, but I've never seen anything else quite like this. And Benchmade never made anything else with this mechanism either. There's another LFK, which is the blackened version. They also offered a combo edge. Whether you find that one or you find this original kind, this being the first production run, it has a single thumb stud rather than dual thumb studs. I believe these first productions only had a single thumb stud. Not that it really matters. You can swap that because there's a Torx bit there. Let's get the specs of the way. Blade length is 5.2 inches. The overall length is 10.25 inches, but the handle length is 6.7 inches when in the closed position, like so. Now, when it's in the open position like that, I'm actually not sure. Let's measure it right now. I didn't think of that. About 5 inches, give or take. And then with that separate mechanism, looks like we're at, yeah, like they said, 6.7 inches. According to their website, it's also 6.7 ounces. So for the amount of edge you're getting there, that's actually completely adequate. I know the Cold Steel Voyagers XLs are 5.5-inch blades. I think those are like 7.2 or something. So anything under 7 ounces is completely adequate for the amount of edge you're getting right here. That is a massive, massive blade. It's over 5 inches long. Very thick handle right here. 6060 T6 aluminum, as they call this material, and then they call this the Santoprene, which is kind of a rubberized texture. It's like a very, very, very dense rubber. I don't like rubberized materials that much. I mean, they're good as far as their functionality goes and keeping your grip from slipping. That's the whole point, understood. I just don't like them. I always feel like I can accidentally wear them so easily. I can accidentally just use my fingernail, scratch it off, or destroy it somehow. I don't know. Aesthetically, I do not like rubberized handle anything. Guns, anything. I do not like rubber. But they are functional, just not very aesthetic, in my mind anyway. Tip down, carry only, which makes sense. If it was tip up, it would be right here, and then this whole thing would be poking out of your pocket. Not only would that look really stupid, but it would be very dangerous and just not very functional. Not very efficient at all, so it makes sense why they went with the tip down. I can forgive them for that, and it is swappable to the left side. Got some jimping on the blade right here, which is actually pretty functional. Who would have thought? Yeah, we're still talking about that. The little Dremel tool work on the back of the blade. We got to make sure it's on there. Very functional, yeah. It's comfortable enough. I like the design on the handle, like the lines and the cutouts to it. It fits the human hand, or my hand, perfectly anyway. But it's very chunky. It's a very, very, very thick handle. You got to get one in hand to really realize, oh, wow, that is massive. It's like holding a big old Glock. However, I do like that. I kind of like how they went with a chunky handle because it's so short, so they kind of compensated for that. You have a lot to hold on to, physically speaking. That's kind of what you want, especially, again, with a knife with a blade that long. You don't have a very long handle. You only got this grip, pretty much. You go in anything else, you're going to start losing your control. Now, down here, it's not too bad. There's no lanyard hole or anything, but you got a little bit extra reach. But you have a lot of reach. It's a very long blade. I love this blade shape. Elongated drop points. It's kind of goofy looking. It looks like you took a blade and in Photoshop or something just stretched it out. That's literally what this looks like. But functionally speaking, there's a lot of edge, a lot of belly to work with. It's very functional. Great defensive option. Again, we have a lot of grip here with the Santoprene. The jimping right there, thick handle. It's not going to get knocked out of your hand very easily. And again, you can scooch down here if you want even more reach, but there's a lot of cutting edge right here. Very devastating knife. Carry's okay. You know, it's not a great carry knife. It's not bad either. It's just kind of what you'd expect for a tip down knife that's this big. It just kind of feels unbalanced in the handle because it is. We have less handle right here. We just have a little aluminum mechanism right here. So the balance of it in the closed position is kind of goofy. Feels a little weird. Not that it really matters that much. That's the closed position. Open position actually feels okay. Yeah, it feels surprisingly balanced despite it not looking very balanced. Very interesting, very unique. 440C blade steel. Everyone would laugh at that in 2023. But back in the day, you know, pre-2010, that was totally considered adequate. That was an okay blade steel. And it still is an okay blade steel, you know, for the stuff we're using our knives for. Yes, even us knife guys, we don't need usually the highest end blade steels. We just like them because they're cool and because they're more functional, technically speaking, even if we never want to cut anything with it because we spent so much money on it and we don't want to get it scratched. It's kind of funny how that works out. But no, 440C, if you have a good heat treatment on there, it's totally an adequate steel. Has good enough rust resistance, good enough edge retention, gets razor sharp. Doesn't sharpen as easily as some softer steels out there, but it's a very good compromise and it's good for the money. But speaking of money, if you find these knives, use in this condition, like good condition I would call this. It's not mint or anything, but it's not bad either. Expect to pay maybe $250 with the sheath. You also get the sheath. They have vertical and horizontal carry right there. They'll usually come with these. About $250, find these new with the box, $350, $400. They could be more depending on if there's anything else special about it. There's a Harley Davidson version. Again, this is a first production run, so it's probably going to be a little bit more expensive. They also had prototypes. But generally speaking, $250 to $350 is what I see these going for in okay to good condition. And then, of course, mint or new in box. With the box, you're going to pay probably even more. On eBay, I see people asking for outrageous prices all the time, $400, $500, $600 for new in box ones. Maybe that's not outrageous. Maybe that is an adequate price. I don't know. It's just whatever people are willing to spend on these because they're getting really hard to find. There's no other knife out there like these as far as I've seen. Even in 2023, still nobody's used a mechanism like that. I'm surprised Benchmade never brought these back because people are scrambling to find these things. They're just very, very expensive. They're very functional knives. They're very cool. I like them. I like the pocket clip too. It's kind of weird looking, goofy spoon, but I kind of like it at the same time. I don't know. It's functional, you know. Works okay. No issues there. It's blackened. I like the satin finish on the blade. It's a good looking knife, I think. It's very functional too. Is there an advantage to this mechanism? I really thought hard about this for many, many years. I cannot think of an advantage to having this mechanism instead of just having the handle longer to begin with. We have a shorter handle with a separate piece that accommodates the blade. What is the advantage to that? I don't know. If you just want a shorter handle, you want the knife itself to be as efficient as possible as far as its blade to handle length ratio is concerned. We actually have a negative ratio. That's hilarious. The blade is longer than the handle. That's just unheard of with folding knives. That is hilarious to me. As far as efficiency goes, I could see that being an advantage. But I usually like having a longer handle anyway in the open position because then I have more reach. So even if the blade is not longer, I still have reach, maybe given 2 inches or so. So I have even more reach for a defensive situation. But as far as efficiency is concerned, I guess that's a good thing, having the shorter handle. It is what it is, though. You know, if you're just talking, I just want cutting edge. I don't care about reach. I just want as much cutting edge as possible. I want the length of everything else to be as short as possible when I'm holding it. Then yeah, that's a good thing. But when it's in the closed position, when you're carrying it, that's usually when this matters more, I think, anyway. It doesn't make a difference because the length is the same as a knife that would have a normally long handle. Regardless, it's very cool whether you think it's functional or not. I think it's very unique, very interesting. It's just really, really cool. Even knife guys would take a look at something like this, a knife this long, think it's probably a fixed blade. You close it and be like, what? How'd you do that? Where'd that blade go? What the? Just very, very interesting. It's like it's got a little stinger. Kind of goofy and weird looking in the closed position, but at the same time, I do think it's a beautiful knife. Again, love that finish, love that blade shape. I like the way the handle looks. I like the way it feels. I like how chunky it is. It's very ergonomic, a lot to hold on to. Good blade still, Benchmade's always done a good job with their heat treatment. Devastating, really cool, valuable, weird, unique, rare knife. Benchmade LFK. If you really want one, get one now. They're just going to keep going up and up and up in price, and I don't see Benchmade or any other company making anything like this anytime soon. I'm surprised nobody has. I'm surprised Benchmade never brought these back. I don't think they were terribly popular when they came out. But these days, they're very popular. People are scrambling to find them, like I said. So there you have it, Benchmade LFK, one of the most interesting knives I've ever seen. I've lusted after these things for years and years, probably a decade. Finally found one. I finally pulled the trigger on it, and I'm so happy I have it. Very cool. And one day, these are probably going to skyrocket even more so in the price points. So again, if you want one, go find one now.